So welcome to another developer sneak peek. And following the trend that we're trying to do, so I'm gonna show you something that we just released. It's still a work in progress, but I wanna get feedback from from these new features. And it's related to Trimline. Trimline is something that as we're moving more into direct printing and more advanced tweakings, it's a very important feature. But even if you're not using trimmers or are gonna do direct printing, Trimline is gonna be very important for you too. And I'm gonna show you at the end of the video how to the webinar how to use it on your day-to-day work, even if you don't have those trimmers and if you're not using direct printing. But let me show you what we're doing for the trim line because this is a very important feature. Let me see. Let me share my screen. Mm, Okay, let me move this out of the way. Um, So if you see, I mean, this is Titan, and I just have here one case. And if you go to the Trimline step, which you can also click, on the STL file and click Trimline. But yeah, if you click Trimline, so the Trimline, we have improved it quite a bit, the way it works, um, to be more smooth and to have more customization regarding the anterior and posterior teeth. So I'm gonna show you those things. So the idea of the Trimline is to be fast, so that as you move, it will update the Trimline for every aligner based on the teeth movement, and it will allow you to customize it. So you have two ways to customize the Trimline. The automatic way, which is by using these sliders over here. And by default, the ideal is that you don't have to manually tweak anything. The Trimline, just by adjusting the sliders, should be able to handle most cases. Uh, let me show you some of the customizations. So we have here you can select maxilla or mandible, and you can also click the trim line, right, to edit it, to edit that trim line specifically. So on this side, you have the buccal and the lingual side, and you can specify how far away, or inside you want the trim line to be. The same for the posterior. And we have a separate customization for each one of those because sometimes you may want to have a shorter trim line on the front, but wider on the more to the gingival in the back, so that it holds better and can move the teeth better. So over here you can adjust it, and the same you can do for the lingual. So you have separate controls for that. You can adjust how the lingual by itself is going to be. Uh, and whenever you have a very long tooth, let's say that the molars are long, you can adjust here the maximum how big will be. Let me see. Let me show you. It's better. So you see, it's gonna cut the trim line so that if there is long teeth, this distance is gonna be not too long, so that there is no as much retention, and it's easier to remove the attachments, the liners. So this over here is gonna be for whenever you have long teeth. Now, the scalloped feature, we added way more options to the scalloped. It used to be either you want it flat or scalloped. Now you have control over the buccal anterior and posterior, the lingual anterior and posterior, and the frenum. So for instance, in here, you can see that I can adjust the how scalloped is the trim line for the anterior teeth. independent from the posterior teeth. This will allow you to have things like, I want to scallop on the front, but straight on the back, so that it's more, it can help the movements better. And you can also do things like on the back, I want a bit higher, um, just to help for the movement, but to be more comfortable, scallop on the front. And you can also do the same for the frenum as a separate adjustment. The frenum, you can adjust how that will be, even if the other ones are straight. So you can adjust the frenum to how you want to be. And this also happen for the lingual side. So on the lingual side, you will also have scalloping, and for the anteriors as well. But sometimes, even if you adjusted a, sometimes it will do some bad move splines, or you may want to add tweak some places separately. So in these moments, it's quite easy. You can just move the points. You just move whatever points you need to the correct location. This will allow you to do like a small movements, small adjustments, like that. Whenever you move a point, that creates like a pin. It's spinning that point into the gum or the teeth. And as the teeth of the gum move, it will move that point with it. So you can easily adjust this, to so that it goes to a specific location. And it will take into account, whenever it moves, it will adjust it correctly. Now, sometimes moving the points by itself is really hard if you want to do like adjust all this. Let's say that you want this to be straight, you have to do one point at a time. It gets really tedious. So another option that we just released is the ability to paint. So if you do right click or shift, it will allow you to paint and quickly define the trim line the way you want it. So that way you can do things like this, and it's quite easy. The same, you can do it by holding shift and just dragging. Uh, this is a better way to handle bigger movements, so bigger adjustments. And the same, the spline will adjust, will be applied for every aligner. That way you have short control and smart controls and bigger controls. One way, so once you do this, the spline right now is calculating over here automatically, but over here is using whatever you pin it to the surface. So if you want to reset these changes, you just change any slider, like here, and it will revert every point that you adjusted to the new settings. So that's an easy way to revert everything. So let me show, see if there is an error. So sometimes you're gonna have things like this, and previously it was really hard. You had to move teeth by teeth, but now point by point. But now you just drag, and I mean it's a very easy experience right now with this adjustment. I mean, try that. Try the painting, and let me know how it feels. Another thing that we improved is the precision cuts. So let me go back here. Where is attachments? So in the attachment steps, I place one precision cut here and one precision cut here. And when I go to the trim line, it automatically creates those cuts in the trimming. And it even knows how to, even though the precision cut gets to the edge of the teeth, as I go, let's say on the buccal posterior, if I go down, it will know to cut it shorter. So it will do those adjustments for you. And if you need to add more precision cuts, the trim line will automatically adjust. So let's say that I add another one here. gonna make it shorter. And if I go to the Trimline, it will automatically pick that up. I can always do, with painting, I can always do it myself if I want, but it's options. We're trying to give you as much options as possible. Now, let me revert that. So the Trimline will adjust with the precision cut and with the points that you draw. But there are some times that as the teeth move, you want to have some different trimline at the beginning of the treatment than at the end. Let's say that at the beginning there is a lot of distalization of the molars, and for those you want a straight cut. But at the end, the molars are already distalized, so you want a more comfortable scalloped cut. So for this, we added the ability to create multiple trim lines. So if you are so as you see here in the timeline, there is one trim line for everything. And if I adjust the settings are going to be applied for all of these, the entire thing. But I can come and split it, and that will create two trim lines. One that is going to go from 0 to 3, and one that is going to go, from 4 to 7. And in here, I can say, okay, let me put this straight. Let me fix that a little bit. And if you see, now the trim line over here has that settings, but over here, it goes to the other one. And I can do the same for things like let me cut here as well. And now in this one, I'm going to make it all like that. And this is straight, this is scalloped. So now you have control over different liners, over what the trim line is going to be for that aligner specifically. This is really important also for when you have an extraction, because the trim line that you set up before the extraction may not be the best. The cut may not be the best for after the extraction, when there is not the extraction, sorry, when there is no teeth there. So it may do some funny things. So what you can do is just cut the spline in that aligner, and recreate it, tweak it a little bit, or to make it good look for after the extraction. Let me see. So these are basically the changes that we did for the Trimline editing. So whenever you're editing, now you can have the different keyframes, the different trim lines. Now you can have painting. Now you can the trim line, the precision cuts are more precise, say it that way. Yeah, play with it. But now let me show you one thing that we already had, but it's really useful. So let's say that you don't have a trimmer. Because if you have a trimmer, let me show you that first. If you have a trimmer, whenever you go to export, the trimmer, so here, there is the trim line here. This is how you're gonna export your trim line. And a trimmer will need a file, this pointless file, so that the trim line, when exported, it can be, loaded into the trimmer and it can cut. But the trimmer also needs a guide. So, it needs to know where in the space is the model located so that it can match it to the trim line. So for this, you have the trim guide. And we not currently support a few trimmers that have their guides and models, and you can upload your custom model. But we improved this a little bit. So now, if you're using a trimmer, you can also place labels on those. Let's say that I'm gonna do this one. So for this quark base, Let me select this one. So now you can have here. In here, you can have a text like a label, Frank. No. Now, the label for this model can be added here. And you can also say that you want, let's say, the aligner. Okay. So Frank 5. So it will automatically now adjust the text on those streamers so that you don't have to place these uh, labels on the model. You can just do the one on the trimmer. And you can also use these labels to, if you have an automatic process, to place the code there that your automatic flow will read and be able to identify the model. So you can do a lot of things with it. Uh, hope this helps for those with an automatic flow. And let's say that you don't have a trimmer. Let me remove the trimmer, the trim guide, and you're trying to export, but you like this trim line because you spend time deciding where the trim line should be, so that it doesn't get the undercuts or things like that. This is a guide, and you have, if you're doing it yourself, if you're doing the planning and then printing yourself and then cut it by hand yourself, you know where to cut. But if you have a technician that does that for you, you may want to give him, like a guide so that he knows where to cut. Up to now, a few builds ago, the technician had to open this model when he was gonna cut and see, oh, the doctor wanted the trim line to be over here straight. Okay, let me cut through here. But a few versions ago, we added the baking of that trim line so that when it gets exported, you can have something in the model that says where the technician has to cut. So to do that, you come here and instead of point list, you select baked. When you select baked and you export the STLs, it will open something like this. Let me open I already exported this, so let me. Oh, just a second, I'm opening. Sorry. So this is one STL that I exported for that model, and you see, when the bake option is enabled, the line is exported as part of the STL. That way, when printed, the model will have a bump. The aligner, when you use thermoform over it, it will have it will have a mark over there, and then it's gonna be really easy for your technician. He just need to go over the line cutting, or at least use it as a reference. Um, so this is a very useful option if you have technicians that do things for you so that you get consistent results the way that you want it, even if the technician is not as experienced. Uh, Another way that is really useful to use a Trimline is if you are if you are using a lab, either be Titan Lab or one of our partner labs, if they are doing plannings for you and they send you a case for approval, you can click to see the trim line because we're always generating an automatic trim line. You can see if the trim line is okay and make adjustments so that when you send to the lab, you click approve, the lab will cut exactly through that trim line. That removed the need for doctors to write in the notes, hey, I want to cut the back teeth short, and the front teeth, I want it longer, but don't go over the undercuts. things like that that you normally have to write. Now you don't need to. You just open the case that the lab sends you, go to the Trimline, and you just adjust it. So if you want, where is oh this is not so there. So if you want the front is shorter, just do that. You just make them shorter. And then the trim line is gonna go through there. Now you know where it's gonna go. And if you don't like it, just paint it and send that to the lab. And be sure that when you're receiving these aligners, it's gonna be exactly the way you want it. Um, I mean, there is a few more ways that we're gonna be showing that we're gonna be integrating the trim line into our process, especially now that we are um, adding, so we're moving very heavily into tools for direct printing and tools for helping with the post-processing of aligners. Because things like, if we know where you want to do the trim line, then the automatic waxing that we're developing can know where to fit it correctly so that it's smoother, things like that. So Trimline is going to be it's going to play a very important role in Titan. But we want it to be as easy as possible. So we want that the default values be uh, most likely what you need, and you just need to tweak a few things. So play with this. Let me know what you think. And if there is any setting that you want to adjust, that you want to add, please let me know. This is the moment. This is the moment to contribute to Titan and get the software exactly the way that you want it. So, and hope this helps. Uh, Let me stop sharing
Super
here.
cool. Pretty cool.
So now, if you have any questions about it, yeah, let me know. Now is the moment.
Frank, nobody write nothing. Everybody understand well.
Yeah, I mean, this is an easy video, but we wanted to show where are we developing, how are we moving, and where our target is, so that you can contribute to it. Because in Titan, we we value a lot your contributions, and we want to have a software that is exactly the way that you need it. So uh, we're still there is still a few more things that we're gonna be releasing this weekend and the next. And we do an early access build every weekend. So this next build is gonna have a couple more adjustments to the Trimline. Um, so, but I wanted you to know how it's going. So no questions?
No, Frank, nobody have asked question here. But it's good
Okay.
to say for the next AEO next month, going to be a full of surprise for people who visit us in the booth.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a few things that we want to showcase there, that we have been holding on. So
Yeah,
yeah, visit us there, and after AAO, around there, if you want to grab a beer, let us know. We're gonna be
you
there.
have the
So
number, Frank, you have the number of the booth already or not yet?
I do, but I don't remember it from the top of my head. So I'm gonna post it on the WhatsApp group later on. I mean, we're
Perfect.
the we're around the center of the tech select area, so it's gonna be pretty hard to miss. And our booth this time has like 14 feet tower. Uh, is mostly that a 14 feet tower, so that it's visible everywhere. So just look up and you'll see us.
Excellent, Frank.
Okay, have a good one, guys. Hope this helps.
Okay.